So first, thank you, Tanel, and all the team for having me. As mentioned, my name is Sella Yoffe. I am an email deliverability consultant working with sender startups and the ESP. I'm the creator of the blog and the podcast crm.buzz. Soon, in my opinion, and I know I'm a bit biased by it's the leading information channel for deliverability and email marketing in Hebrew. But soon I will be releasing some of the great, leading experts on deliverability on English only. Enough about me. Let's talk about our topic. We all familiar with the checkmark on Twitter and other social platforms. In the picture, you can see one of my favorite artists also got verified on Spotify. So the checkmark is a signal of credential and branding. In Gmail, you can see here that in Gmail, the verification program started in May 23. What it's all about. As you can see on the side, most senders will have their initials. In this example, the G here. But some brands here in the example have their logo showing in the inbox beside the blue check mark. So Google will display a verified logo beside the brand on desktop. When you hover over the check mark, you will see that the logo and the brand, a statement will pop up saying that the brand and the logo are both belong to that specific brand. As we can see, it's, we all have crowded inboxes already. It stands out in the inbox. Additionally, Yahoo reported a 10% increase in engagement boosts, mainly because of Bimi adoptions. I will discuss this later. This blue check mark is in Gmail is beneficial both for marketeers and IT department, as it raised the security and the trustiness of brands. Showing a verification blue check mark on Gmail is not a paid program, unlike Twitter, for example, or other platforms that pay something and send us some kind of identification, and we will verify you. It's not something that you can request Gmail to activate. Showing the blue check mark depends entirely on the brand. To obtain the blue check mark, marketeers will need to go through a verification process that may take several months. This process requires brands and senders to validate their domain across all email platforms, trademarking their brands if they're not already done so, and obtaining a certification. Additionally, they will need to employ DMARC. I call it the DMARC journey. I'll discuss this a bit later, up to an enforcement policy. I know many acronyms and it might sound scary, but I will make sense in a minute. Why I like this new approach? It's a refreshing branding approach because I don't know any marketeers that will ask their IT people, are our SPF and DKIM in alignment, and do we have a Bimi with VMC certification, enforced DMARC policy? They will just ask, do we have the blue tick or the blue check mark in Gmail? It sounds easy, but it's a complicated email authentication journey. I urge everyone here that's interested in implementing that blue check mark to consult deliverability or email authentication expert that will help you with that journey, because most of it is technical. I want to mention that starting February 2024, Gmail and Yahoo are the joint announcement was that they will start enforcing a safer and less spammy inboxes. Among other things, they will focus on email validation and sender authentication. Gmail will focus on bulk sender, sends more than 5,000 emails to Gmail addresses every day. I want to shortly discuss email validation. Getting the blue check mark is an email authentication, security, and trust journey. And most of it is technical and some say geeky. I will show later, after I'll discuss those acronyms, I will show this slide a bit later. First, many email marketeers do not authenticate their domains. So if you see on your inbox, for example, if you sign from the platform and you see via in the sender name when you're using your platform, it means that you are using the platform shared domain. Many senders use their gmail.com as their sender domain, but as I mentioned, starting February 2024, Gmail and Yahoo will not allow that to happen. So if you don't have a domain, buy a domain. It's your brands and it's super cheap, and there are so many TLDs that you can choose from. Yes, there are some TLDs better than others in terms of reputation, and some TLDs are less recommended. But if you already have a domain, ensure that that it's registered under your name, not under any agency or freelancer that who built your site. Have access to your essential, platform. Everything is around our domain. Make sure to authenticate your domain on your email marketing platform and other platforms. And remember, when you start authenticating, if you use the email platform domain, shared domain, when you start using your domain, you need to warm it up first. And someone said, with great power comes great responsibility. SPF is the first on our journey, is the first sender policy framework. It's an email authentication protocol. Basically, it specifies which email addresses are allowed to send email on behalf of a domain. Another email protocol called DKIM, DKIM, Domain Keys Identified Mail. It is an email authentication method that helps verify the authenticity and the sender and the integrity of the email message. Unlike SPF, DKIM is tied to a specific domain and its sender reputation. DMARC I like most. DMARC, it's not short, but it's short for domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. It was built to protect domains and brands. It is not a domain authentication protocol. You can safely send emails, authenticated emails, without DMARC, but DMARC defines the policy for the receiving server how to handle incoming emails in case of mismatch or failure in authentication protocols. Those looks like spoofing attempts. How to report those emails and how to report them, to who and to how, and how to report it. DMARC writes above SPF and DKIM This is why it's mistakenly recommended to implement DMARC only after you implement SPF and DKIM correctly. My recommendation is to embrace a DMARC first approach. So start with DMARC, implement DMARC with a tool. It's a record inside the DNS. When you are using a tool, the tool will give you an email address to implement and the record to implement in your DNS. Then you can start receiving reports. It detects all the email, all the platform basically that sends emails on behalf of a domain. It's very common that people inside an organization not even aware of all the sending infrastructures, all the sending sources under their domain. DMARC reports will make a context between SPF and DKIM on every sending source. So I recommend starting with the DMARC first approach. This is an example of DMARC Pro, how it looks like, and it's, as I said, it's something technical. Use someone that knows what to do in case there's something wrong there. Maybe because everyone knows how to send emails, emails appears easy. However, behind the scene email is difficult and complex. Email authentication is a crucial task that needs, a constant attention from someone who understands email authentication. From my experience, it is something that even IT people are struggling with. There are many mistakes that can be made when implementing email authentication. So I can relate to some, like adding multiple SPF records when you can only have one, exceeding the SPF maximum number of DNS lookups, which is 10, and not using DKIM authentication, using the same DKIM on several platforms, not rotating DKIM, not separating different email tasks, for example, transactional and marketing and operational emails. They're all under the same domain. Implementing a useless DMARC is very common, or implementing a DMARC policy that doesn't send reports. So that's why I call it useless. Getting to the top and earning the Gmail blue checkmark is a journey, and you cannot skip the line. The protocols are like, an onion. It builds upon each other. So SPF, DKIM, then DMARC, as I said, BIMI, which I'll discuss in a minute, and VMC certification, and only after everything is in place, you can get to the top and showing your blue check mark. So the process of obtaining the new Gmail checkmark is an email authentication journey. I refer to it as a DMARC journey. DMARC policy can have 3 phases. It's like a gear, a manual gear in a car. You have 3 stages, beginning with P equal none policy. During this stage, we will receive reports to the DMARC monitoring tool. We can detect every email platform that sends on behalf of a domain and observe the authentication and the alignment status of SPF and DKIM for each sending source. It's a great discovery tool that will surface all the old development servers that no one remembers, that's still active, any old and not secured homegrown servers, etc. You will need to address any issue with the authentication and the alignment. That's very technical, as I mentioned, and there are many email servers in every business. So even small businesses tend to have more than not just their email platform. Okay, they have many other sending sources. Only after fixing everything, you can proceed to quarantine policy while continue to monitor and fix everything that need to be fixing. Finally, you can move to a reject policy. That's the destination, the ultimate destination. The work is not done yet. You need to continue monitoring. It's very common that something changed at the DNS or something else breaks. So you need to keep your eye on those DMARC reports. By the way, soon a new DMARC standard called DMARC Peace or DMARC 2.0 will be launched. It will be backwards compatible, but some tags will lost, like percentage, for example. SPF, DKIM, and DMARC are protocols that the email servers, what we call the receiving side, can see. This is crucial for trusted email communication and for improving inbox placement. However, there is another layer of trust that recipients can visually see, like a modern seal, wax seal, that was used in ancient communication. This is where BIMI protocol and BIMI logo comes in. BIMI stands for brand indication, brand indicators for message identification. It enables businesses to display their branded logos alongside their email inside inboxes, as we can see here. Yeah, it helps brands to efficient themselves in the very crowded inboxes. This is what I call the showstopper, and I will talk about it in a minute. Some mailbox providers, such as Gmail, requires brands to obtain a VNC certification. It's a verified mark certificate. It's not cheap, and to obtain this verified, trust, it's a digital certification that issued to verify logo ownership. And beforehand, brands must register their trademark under that logo. In many cases, as you can see here, only the visible, because of limitation, for example, American Express, this is the visual part of the logo, so it needs to be registered separately. I often ask, who's it for? Is it only for large brands? And my answer is that Gmail Blue Checkmark is for every sender who are willing to go that journey. The hardest part of climbing that email authentication mountain, what I call the DMARC journey, is, as I said, technical, but it's doable. Yes, there are challenges. It's challenging, for example, for bloggers like me and small businesses who can't afford or it's very challenging for them to trademark their logo, for example. You can see that the adoption here below, you can see that the adoption of BIMI is very low. The adoption of DMARC with reporting is also very low. They're even in this is a pretty new data from 12 days ago, something like that. It's very low, so it's challenging to convince, and I hope that new approach by the blue checkmark is a refreshing approach to doing so. In my opinion, the BIMI group should have suggested a grace period of 3 years or so for brands to make the DMARC journey without a VMC certification, that will broaden the adoption of BIMI. You can only display the BIMI logo after completing the entire journey, but without the VMC certificate, you can't display that on Gmail. You can display a check mark on Yahoo without a VMC certification at the moment. It might change in the future. That will be a much better approach, to make it accessible for everyone, at least for a grace period, in my opinion. So I hope that there are questions that I can answer.
Thank you very much, Sella. So in Estonia, we have talked about BIMI in a webinar. And sorry, maybe you can turn off the sharing also.
Oh,
we can see you better now. But anyway, and the biggest struggle for our clients, we are number one service provider in Estonia. We have the biggest retail chains, etc. They have not started using BIMI because it is, first of all, pretty technical, needs a lot of investment in regards of, well, I don't know, skills, and also the subscription fee of about $1,500 every year. Yeah. So far, our clients have said that it's not worth it. We haven't had any use case where someone has adopted it and said, wow, guys, this is like a game changer.
Yeah, I have talked with 3 of our clients, and after that, when I sent the information that you have this international registered trademark, plus you have to do the certification thing, then they said, okay.
So
there it is.
Would you suggest them otherwise to reconsider?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. We start seeing Gmail is
big.
In term it's huge, and obviously there are. We always say that email is also based on territory. For example, in my country, Gmail is huge. Go to the Czech Republic. No, Gmail is not the leader there. Okay, for example. So you need to consider that. Okay, I don't know what's the situation in your country, but in India it's huge. In Israel it's huge, and also in other countries. Gmail was up until a year ago was very forgiving. You could send from gmail.com emails, as I mentioned. You can send without any authentication, no SPF, no DKIM. Now it says you need to have one, or SPF or DKIM. So we're starting to see a narrow and narrow window that email, because there is most of the email that sends through, most of the emails are spam. So it's a struggle between email providers and other spam house and other RBLs and institutes that are fighting spam. So in my opinion, let's compare it. Excuse me. Let's compare it for a company to have their company verified checkmark on Twitter, what we need to call now X, okay? It's around $1,000 per month. And I see many brands and non-profit even adopting this checkmark. So I say it depends. If you want to stand out, you know, have your emails. Basically, what I'm saying to brands, you need to. The most part of the journey is the technical journey of doing the authentication, climbing that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can always, if you want to expedite things, no problem. We can work parallelly to obtain a VMC certificate and trademark. It will also take time, lawyers, etc. You need to open your wallet to have this. But
Yeah.
it's an investment to start sending more authenticated emails. You will improve your deliverability by doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so deciding when I for a reason I call the VMC part a showstopper, because okay, I climbed and I climbed and I climbed, and then I need to do something else, which is very expensive, and I need some bureaucracy to have this check mark, trademark, lawyers, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there are, as I mentioned, most of the journey is starting with DMARC, implementing DMARC with the DMARC tool, start collecting reports, start, bringing the awareness for that. It's not flip of a switch to get this check mark, and the check mark is, as I mentioned, is the cherry on the peak of that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It will appear automatically if you do everything right. Okay.
There is no question about sending authenticated emails that they must be delivered. I think 10 years ago, email was an anarchy. Everyone was sending to everyone. And I've seen a fact somewhere that about, I don't know, 95% of email traffic is such kind of spam that doesn't even get delivered anywhere, even to the spam box. So
Rejected.
there is the issue is important, and for respectable brands, it is a way out of it. So you cannot send any spoofing emails, phishing emails in my name. So I can take the trouble, pay a little bit, get certified, and that's it. I'm like trusted from now on. But for the smaller ones, it seems a lot of trouble, at least.
Yeah, because we are seeing that we are trying to educate our clients that, okay, please start with SPF and TKM. We put also inside our system the checking. If you are sending out, it shows you that you have missing this, so please do it. Okay, it improved probably during the last year, but anyway, there are small companies, they don't know, they don't understand actually nothing, and they are like, and then there are these extremely small companies or private people who are doing some kind of a business, and they are using the Gmail, their private personal Gmail
For
address to
business,
send out to their
yeah.
business mails
I
or
think it's
marketing mails.
yeah, you're perfectly right, and I'm always comparing. Most of the people who are doing emails is, sometimes they are one man or woman show. Okay, they're all alone. you know, they need to address so many things, and they are treating email platforms like they're treating Facebook campaigns, for example.
Mhm.
The platform does it all, and I'm always saying that no, email is hard. You need to many technical things need to be considered. You need, and I think that platforms like yours, when making it accessible through the webinars, for example, to the audience to know that email is hard. You need to authenticate it. I can tell you that I know how to fix my plumbing, but I will call someone to do that to help me with that. Okay, so there are people that can help you fix your email your email infrastructure. To set your email, as I mentioned, the email platform, the email marketing platform, sometimes is one part of the email infrastructure that you can see inside even a small organization. Are using many email servers or SMTP servers, or never mind to send transactional and operational. And sometimes they're using several email marketing platforms and automations. So as a consultant, I need to zoom out and look at the entire needs for this organization under this usually one domain.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, there are conflicting interests. You are talking with the marketing department, and they are telling you, I'm not interested in what the other departments are doing. So I need to make sense as a consultant by looking from high above about all their email needs, and doing that DMARC journey is very helpful to make sense of all the email needs inside the organization. It's a competition to the inbox. It will be harder. Even the very nice Gmail is starting to make it very narrow. For example, sending from gmail.com will no longer work very soon. They will. They say that they will have their DMARC policy for that domain set to quarantine. So email, you're not, basically when you're sending from another domain, it will fail. So I think that every email sender needs to address this. How we can address this is by learning about there is something called deliverability. There's something called email authentication. If I want to send my emails, it's like you need to have your driving license, and to, you can't go on the road. And in my example, you can't go online or start sending emails if you're not authenticating your emails or doing it right. I see many examples of doing it wrong. It's hurting the, it will hurt deliverability. Sometimes stupid things like moving from one DNS server to another, copying the zone file without knowing that the new DNS server is not compatible with the long 2048 bit. All DKIM failed. All their class is blocked on the spam house. Ask for help. It's okay.
But what do you think when it's gonna be like total blackout? Exactly about this, what you said, that if you are trying to send from Gmail to Gmail.
If I'm using my Gmail, not a platform, to
No,
send
no,
my
I'm
personal
using
Gmail.
my personal Gmail address to send through the platform.
Not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to stop doing that. It's we have a grace period, for 4 months or something like that.
Okay.
Enough time to.
We have to do the next seminar with our clients who are doing this.
Who are doing it wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, we have a few questions.
It's okay. It's a common mistakes that almost every marketeers are doing. It's okay. I just want to bring the awareness of that thing. Okay.
Okay, so how long do you think it takes to implement BIMI after full DMARC is already implemented, approximately?
If you're fully, you're enforcing DMARC, okay, you are now on enforcement mode, and to get to enforcement mode means you did the journey. The most of the journey is already done. Okay, so you need to have your logo recreated as a SVG, as the proper format. You need to implement a record inside the DNS, do some tests, and if you're sending, for example, to Yahoo, you should see your logo above a certain volume, obviously. So it should be a very short period. The adding the VMC certificate, as I said, can be parallel, or if someone already did the journey and everything is right, which I doubt, but if everything is right and they're already enforcing and everything is aligned and correct and they're fine with that, then going to adding the BIMI logo is straightforward.
Okay.
Okay. Is there some subscriber count threshold after which you absolutely need the certificate? Maybe not now, but in the future, do you know?
It's hard to foresee what mailbox providers will want to implement, because I love that approach by Gmail, that they branded it under, as I said, IT people, marketeers. They want that check mark. They don't understand all the behind the scene, all the technical stuff, and it's okay. I don't want them to understand. I want them to be, as I said, it's a branding, new refreshing branding approach that will, bring up to IT people. How can we do that? We want this blue check mark. How can we do that? And IT people will start to scratch their head. How can we do so? And I think that email providers like Gmail and Yahoo, and by the way, they joint venture together to announce that in February 2024 they will start focusing on authenticated emails. They both mention each other, so it's very refreshing also that those major mailbox providers are aware of that. It's their need, because Gmail is already, according to their statement, already blocking 50. Let me see if I have their announcement, and I can share a link for everyone to see. They're already blocking 99.9% of the spam and the phishing attempts already. Second. Yeah.
So it's a fine line between spam and legitimate email.
Yeah.
Extremely thin ice, I can say.
They want to have this middle part, like wider in between. So the verified senders and everything else that goes to the black hole.
Yeah. So I pasted on the chat the announcement from Google, and in a minute, here's the one from Yahoo.
Okay.
But
Yeah, please.
you showed those numbers where was like domains with PIMI, domains without PIMI, domains with verification, domains with not without verification. What do you think is okay? Probably this verification thing is so new that this is will go like slower. But what do you think is this PIMI thing will boost now up? Because I think we are talking about it already like 2 years or probably
Even more, maybe.
even more. So is it gonna be a thing, or is it just like I don't know? Yeah, cool thing,
It's a great
nice to
question.
have.
Look, because, in my opinion, because that's why I like the blue check mark approach, because it's an aggregator of all the things. If I'm a marketing manager and I'm starting to see that brands are sending emails with a check mark, I will, reach out to my people, IT people, or I want this. How can I get this? So because the conversation around Bimi was that it will show your logo. For example, you can now show your logo by implementing your Google account with the brand logo. So they didn't block it. Google, for example, in my opinion, it's it's the wrong approach. If you want Bimi to fly and adopted, stop allowing people to show their logo using a Google account, for
Okay.
example.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not the same. The Google account and the Bimi logo, they're totally different.
But they look the same.
You need to, as I mentioned, because it's layer of security, you need to have your SPF and DKIM and DMARC enforced, okay? And your Bimi logo on the right format, the right size, and the DNS record in place. Only then you can even get to display this logo. So, and in my opinion, to make email more secure, more trusted, less spoofing, etc. That's why I mentioned that in my opinion, the Bimi group should give us a grace period. By us, I mean everyone, to do the journey without that showstopper of VMC. Maybe it's not a showstopper.
Mm-hmm.
It's something to do. It's another it's another gate before the top of the mountain. But I think, and this was the idea of around the Bimi, you can show your Bimi logo if you already did the journey. Okay, you will not have this blue check mark on Gmail if you're not having that VMC certificate.
Okay. One last question quickly from you, yes or no. Alex from before, our second presenter, showed us a screenshot of an email that had no authentication, no nothing, but he said that someone has found a loophole how to deliver emails into Gmail inbox, basically guaranteed. Do you think, is there some kind of loophole like that? Yes or no?
I have a slide that is hidden on the presentation, and it exactly spoke about that. And I told myself, it's already complicated, not complicated more. So yes, there are loopholes. Their email is not perfect. For example, DKIM authentication is not perfect. There's something called the DKIM attack, and it's not perfect. Okay, so it can be almost perfect, and you can find many quotes that email is already the trusted channel. I don't know if someone mentioned it, but for the past 6 months or so, we all discovered a new amazing thing called AI. and it's very, I think that it will be very good for email. It will help, I hope it will help not only creating headlines, but also help. I played with GPT-4 to analyze email campaigns pretty well, I must say. And it's a beta version. It will be amazing, I'm sure.
Agreed.
But another darker part of AI is all the fake, all the faking, fake sounds. You can clone your voice. You can clone, your visual. You don't know who to trust, and everyone can look for search for, for fake Tom Cruise, for example, to see an example. It will be horrifying to know which video footage we see is true or not. And I'm saying why I mentioned it, because there is a channel that you can trust. For example, you can't trust something that came from a Twitter thread. Maybe if it came from a trusted, legit channel, maybe you want to get your news from a trusted television channel or the trusted newsletter, newspaper. So I think that email have a role to be the most trusted channel, and because of the built-in, authentication protocols, it can be the most trusted channel going forward, even though it's more than 50 years old.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sella. Please share me the hidden slide that you have later on. And if anyone has questions about blue checkmark, etc., you can contact Sella directly.
Thank you. Amazing. Thank you.